And we've started. Cool. All right, let me get my little question and answer situation going on here so I can see when people are raising their hand, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so let's grab the pen and begin. So, as I've been saying for I don't know how many weeks it is now, there is absolutely nothing bearish whatsoever going on in any of the indexes. We're coming into December, and this year has been real good for the ES. I mean, green after month, hugging the top of the Bollinger Bands. We had one little pause, barely red, and then that's it. I mean, total extension. We're just blowing off this thing. There's nothing to talk about. There's zero to be short about. I mean, you're just getting steamrolled by the pullback, and it's going to stay that way until it starts, showing weakness. And right now, it's not, okay? Last week was the pause, new highs, big move on Friday. I mean, there's nothing to talk about other than get long. That's it. So every pullback is still being bought for now. I know it sounds psychotic, but that's what it is, and it's been working for a couple of years. So in general, we're coming into Santa Claus time, and the markets love to rally this time of year. And, I would say, short-term type of trading, but, nothing wrong with joining lower time frame for now. In January, the markets tend to be a little more bearish. People are starting to lock in profits and stuff like that. For now, there's a half-decent zone right here on the 15-minute chart, right around, it looks like 665 or so. If you're looking for a long on ES, that's someplace you might want to think about joining on Monday. Otherwise, there's a fairly decent zone here on the 60. If we can get back there, other than that, keep buying the pullbacks, okay? And there shouldn't really be that many questions, so I'm just going to keep going. If you have a question, just raise your hand because there isn't really much to talk about over here. NQ, big blast off on Friday for the NQ, and clear, very strong move away from the prior highs. You can see that, new all-time high up there. And again, 2012 or 2017 for the NQ, a little bit bumpy in the beginning of the year, but just boom. I mean, one red month in there, and then just no big deal, wiped it all away, it's gone. We're looking for pullbacks into demand to join. Right now, there's a new demand zone sitting right here on the daily chart, right around 6,400. Okay. On the lower time frames, is there anything else? Well, yeah, there's something right around 64, 60, 70 right over here. Other than that, this is really close to the top up here. So right around the level, actually on the 15, the 64, 70 level, this thing right up here. After that, there's something down around 64.20, right around there. But again, just Friday was a massive move up, and there isn't a lot of demand underneath us there. So if this level at 64.70 should break, I mean, we end up all the way down here. There's nothing inside this thing. So it was just a bull rush on Friday. And we'll see what happens this week. But again, this time of year, the markets tend to rally. So, don't stand in front of it. Join it. Okay. That's NQ. Again, I'm assuming there's no questions just because there isn't really much to talk about there. And if you do have a question somehow, just, raise your hand. As far as the Russell, you'll notice that the Russell actually has not been as strong this week. In the past, it actually made its move earlier than the other markets, and now it's sort of, paused a little bit. It's going sideways here. You can see that we have not made a new high on the Russell. We actually landed inside 240 supply zone. And now we'll have to wait and see if we're going to make a new high again this year or not. Not sure, really. Russell had been the strong one for a while, and now it's a laggard again. And we know the Russell is usually like the leading indicator when it comes to potential direction. So I mean, we were rallying when the other ones weren't, and now the other ones are rallying, and the Russell is sort of slowing down. So that sort of tells me like, maybe we're going to start to look for a chance for things to pause a little bit. But again, this time of year, it's really dangerous to be bearish. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Right. That's the Russell. Just notice that it's not as strong. Keep your eye on that if you're a Russell trader. Okay. This is where we want to start the session, really. The other ones are just buy pullbacks. I mean, there's nothing there. Crude. Okay. So what's going on for the past couple of days is that, we had a little bit of choppy action this week. You can see that we did make a new high in the week, so right up there. And, and then we sort of pull back, and now we bounce back a little bit. For me, I'm looking at on this higher time frame. We're building a bull flag here. okay? And this is going to pop us up into that level. We're unable to sustain the sell-offs over here, okay? And price has been pushing up. If you look down on the 240 chart over here, this is where I believe we're going to be going. If I look here, I see the following, okay? I'm going to pull a little more data on here first. Let's do this, drag a little bit. Okay. Okay, so there are a few things going on over here, right? Just if I focus just for a minute on before I go back, over here, but just in this area for a second. Okay, I see a higher low. I see an inverse head and shoulders forming here, and I see a lot of air over here. Okay, symmetry tells me we should see this. Okay, this piece right here is not here yet. It should be coming over here. We already have every other part of the puzzle in place, right? The zone here is here. The head's at the bottom. This is the missing piece right here. Okay, so I'm thinking this is what we see now. Okay, if we focus back a little bit more and try really what's going on, well, this is where we sold out of the first time. Good, and then we came back to the zone here. We actually got a little deeper. We came back again, and then we sold off and made a higher low. All right, and that sort of tells me that the next time up we should be getting through that thing. That's the 59 level and change, right? And that pop up here, if we get through this thing, that puts us into that 60 level that we're talking about, that weekly supply zone. And I think that is where we're going, and I think we're going to get there this week, actually. So I'm looking for a rally out of this area right here. Okay, we're going to fill up the symmetry. We'll probably push up into the zone again and pause a little bit, and then we just, towards the end of the week, I think we blow through this thing and we end up inside that supply zone up there. So longs is the way to go for crude as far as I'm concerned. Let's start to look down a little bit on some of the lower time frames, and let's see if we can figure out where we can join that if we're not already in it. Well, here's this. On the 60, I mean, you could see the total error, and you could actually see the symmetry in place, right? This zone here is already here. At the wick down here, that's already here. This thing is at the bottom. All we need is this little thing to clear out, and then it's boom, right up here, all the way back. All this is air. That's the trade we're looking for now. Okay, so Friday was a lot of basing going on in here, and on a little time frame, we just pulled back into a small demand zone over here. We shot right back into this thing, so pretty certain we're heading up. This had an opportunity to roll over and make a lower high of here on Friday, and it couldn't do it. We're very choppy Friday, but pretty much a bull flag. That's really what it is. And banging around up there here, show it to you. Okay, right here. Okay, in the morning hours, we pushed down a little bit. We hit this demand that was right over here underneath this basing, and we popped right back into the range. And then you'll see right here we had a little test, and then this is just a bull flag. All this right here is a flag. Okay, and it's waiting. You can see it just banging against these highs, banging against the highs. Well, there isn't much up here. Okay, there's this little blip. That's a 60. So maybe we get a little test after that, but that's it. We're going this way. Okay. Should we, for some reason, pull back into, somewhere down here, see the supply here, the demand here, that's a buy. Don't think about that, okay? That's what I'm seeing on crude. We're looking for longs, and I think the level this week is above 60 is the target, okay? Anybody have a question? Feel free to ask. So I'm moving on. Anybody questions for crude? Okay, there you go. Fine. Next. Oh, okay. So we had rollover this week on the currencies. What we did get, as far as the dollar is concerned, a little bit of weakness. I think it was like Wednesday or so. Then we rolled over Thursday, and we sort of filled this little gap back here. It was down here on the charts, all right, and then we just shot out of that thing. So at this point, because of the rollover, it's a little bit funky on the weekly chart, but this is where it's going as far as I'm concerned. We should be rallying out of this thing. This is also making an inverted head and shoulders here, right here. We should be doing this piece coming next. So I would say 94.50 is on tap for this week, potentially even all the way up here. Okay, but yeah, dollar is looking strong. There's nothing in the way down here, right? Let's look on the, blow it up a little for you on the 240 chart, but you can see that there is absolutely zip in the way of the rally that's going to start here. Okay, so let's blow this up and now bigger. Take a look. See, nada. See that? Air. Okay, so dollar is going to rally back and overtake. And at this point, this is a higher low. And we will be making a higher high. This is higher low. Right? So there's a new high coming over here. So dollar is looking strong, and that means pressure for currencies and gold, which is going to lead me into the next point. A little analysis here. Gold, I think, is in trouble. Okay. I was fairly accurate with the sell-off that happened over the last week or so. I think the bounce back that we've seen is just that. It's like the dead cat bounce. There's a big leg down still coming, unfortunately. As much as I love gold and think in the long term we're going to 1,500, for now, it does not look good at all. If you take a look on the weekly chart, you will see that we have pushed down into really air. Okay, we were basing for a while. And we broke down, and we know those get pretty violent. There's the back test. You can actually see that the high over here of the week has touched the lows, and we're just paused. That this is going to be a drop-based drop. Okay, we're going to end up down here somewhere. Hopefully, it's not all the way down below 1,200, which this chart is actually saying we should get that far. On the daily chart, there's a level around 1220 or so, which I'm going to show you. It's also a 240 level that has the potential to stop the sell-off. It's in this neighborhood right here. If that level holds, that will be the end of the sell-off. If that level does not hold, we're going to end up below 1,200. So gold is sitting on a short, and a big short at that. We're in the 60, and even the 1,220 is $30 away from where we are now. If you look on the daily chart here, you will see that we got a little bounce out of this area. Okay, this was like a level on level over here. This right here is what we've hit so far. And all we got is this little weak bullshit. And you can see that we've actually touched the lows. Right? This on Friday hit the lows and turned into a hammer. So if we start turning over, we're going down here. Well, that's 1,220. Okay, so that's where we're at, and that's what I'm seeing here. So I would like to be short gold personally. I have liquidated my long-term gold positions last week before this sell-off, and now I'm waiting till we get down here. I'll put them back on, but at this point there's still more pain coming. Okay, so if you're long gold, yeah, it's not something you want to be doing right now. Okay, I would say we're heading to 1,220 and potentially even 1,200. So that's a little bit scary. Let's take a look on the 240 chart where the level is. You can see that we've hit the supply where the prior lows was. There it is. And we started to turn over already. There's air under here, a lot of air under here. We break this little trend line over here, and there's nothing under us. Okay? And that means we make new lows because this is a lower high, and then boom, we're down into that zone underneath us. Okay? So every chart is pointing to weaknesses in gold. Right? I don't see any strength whatsoever so far. Okay? Let's scroll down a little bit out and let's take a look at the zone that's sitting under there that I'm talking about. So let's zoom in. Where's my zoom in? There we go. So the zone is sitting back here someplace. Okay, so this is where we bounced out of prior. That's the zone I'm talking about. It's pretty much 28, 26. I mean, that's the same level as the daily level. And you can see that even under gives way, we're in trouble. And that's another 10, 12 bucks. And I don't think that's going to hold anymore. If we get all the way down to 12, we're probably making, a run for 1,200 at that point. So this is the one I'd like to see defended, this 20, 12, 12, 12, 26. And that's actually the target for now. So if the short does develop, let's go see if we can find a spot for it. But that's the trade I would like to be in right now. That's short. Okay. Let's zoom in. This is 240. We'll go down and see where this short is on the lower time frame for that trade. There's the 60. It actually started on Friday. You can see that on the level that it hit back here. There's a little bit more above it. It's sort of like a level on level over here. There's two zones. Right. So this one that's here is actually because of this that happened here. It's just hit the bottom of the wicks. So that's these two lines. Then there's this thing over here at 71 and 68, something like that. I don't know if it's going to get there or not. On the lower time frame, it's already turning around right here. So you could see that there is just nothing underneath this to hold us up. So anything of a break of this little trend line over here, this little, what looks like the moving average actually, the 50 moving average up here is actually what the trend line is just nothing. There's nothing there. We head right back down to this zone. This becomes high and that's it. We're broken. It's over. So gold is looking crappy. Okay. Here's the 15. There's a little supply zone right there. Look at that pretty little doji. Okay. So right here, if we do pop up here tonight, keep your eye on that, or maybe tomorrow morning. You don't really want to trade gold overnight. It gets a little crazy early in the morning. But yeah, that's this whole high here, this whole thing right here, all these prior highs. And there's the supply zone sitting around 62, it looks like, over here. So that's probably the place where we want to try to catch this, or else it's just a breakout of this lows under here. Nothing down here. All right, so the short for gold this week, that's what we're looking for. All right, all the way down to the 15. Every chart says short. Okay. So anyone have any questions? Go ahead, ask now. Nobody. All right, everybody's quiet today. All right, moving on to euro. All right, first thing we need to realize is, again, that the euro had rollover this week. So the chart that you're looking at over here, these candles are now H, right? So there is a premium because we've moved into the future. And really, if you look at the old contract, or you look at the spot price, these candles are down here. Okay, so there is no pop out. There's not a breakout on it by any means. Okay, this is rollover. Therefore, what happened actually stayed within this trend line, and price is currently sitting right here. And that means we should be doing this. Look here on the weekly chart. Okay, we've back to the supply. We turned over, again, this candle has rollover in it. We're really over here someplace, and therefore we're going to break this thing. And we're going to end up, keep saying, 1440, 1400. We filled the rollover gap. You can see that. That's the rollover gap right there. And price is actually going to pull back, it looks like, and for me, I would say, next stop is probably somewhere around here. And that's really not going to hold it either. We're looking, I think, at the end of the day at that 14 and change. So for now, I would say, there's a little demand underneath us around 15 and change. We'll look at it in a second. But shorts is definitely the way to stay for euros. No longs. No longs. Stay short. Okay, that's dollar strength. Euro weakness. There's a 60. We popped up on get some supply up there, and you can see that this has got total air. I mean, this is the rollover gap fill. We'll probably back test a little bit from the little rollover gap. There's a supply zone sitting right here. Okay, and that's probably where we're looking to get short, unless it just breaks through here and continues down, in which case there'd be a new zone over here. Okay, so one of these two is where we're looking to get short, to join the trade over here. And that's it. I mean, there's another zone up here. If we get all the way there, I don't know, right up here, right? That's a supply zone. But I don't think we're going to see those. One of the lower ones is probably more likely. I don't even know if we're going to get here. But keep your eye on this thing. You want to be short. For now, the target is going to be under here. Okay? We're not going to hold this level anymore. We're going to break through that thing, and we're looking for around 50 change for this week. Let's look at the zone. Zooming out, zooming out. There we go. Okay, so there's the euro on the zoom out section. You can see that this area here, right, last time got here. Well, if we hit it now and then we only get over, this is rollover, so price is really over here someplace. We come back down, that's going to break, and then we're talking about, somewhere around here is the 16 and change level. Notice that this wick over here is missing. Right, so that's going to put us somewhere over here to get the symmetrical pattern when we make this lower high, over here again. So that's going to break the bottom. We should end up somewhere over here, right? 15 and change, and then, the whole thing is in jeopardy of breaking down. So, shorts are the way to go for euros this week. Do not get long. Wait for rallies, and short the rallies. That's what I'm seeing here. And looking to join myself into the shorts this week. All right, if anyone has now is your time to ask. So far, so good. I'm going to just draw out these zones while I'm here. I might as well put them on the chart for myself. So this one is already here, right? And this zone here, it's a little bit big. This zone is here as well. This is here. And then this zone is not actually here yet, right? This will break down further before we call that a zone. And I would say it would look like this. If this is an if we break down. If we don't break down, don't short it here at all. Okay, wait for the upper levels. But if we do break down, that's going to be a supply zone because we'll have you know, a drop, base drop like that, and then this becomes a supply. Okay. Looks like I have a question in there, unless somebody had a question and took it away. So cool. I must have answered your question. So that's cool. All right, moving on. Next, the yen. Okay. Okay, on the weekly chart, the yen had a pretty nice rally. The chart is a little skewed, right? This is, you know, showing us with rollover what happened. Right? You sort of have to discount the amount of the gap from where the candles really are. You got to push them down a little bit, right? So we've pushed back a little bit. It looks like a huge engulfing candle, but it just landed in the supply zone. It's really not. On the daily chart, it did not really get through all this, and therefore it's just holding this little trend line. Prices are really over here someplace, and therefore we should be breaking down further. Matter of fact, I like this a lot for a short. We're going to probably fill the gap and then bounce a little bit just because of the rollover gap, and that's it. We're going this way. So yen's short are definitely what I'm looking for this week as well, in line with what we're seeing on all the other stuff, you know, gold shorts and euro shorts and yen shorts. All looking like shorts. Take a look here on the 60 chart. We've hit some supply up there. It needs to get filled. It hasn't been filled yet. And that will give us a little bounce. This should have a supply zone that will be formed over here when we hit the gap, and that will be the short area where we look to join. Look how much air is under here, and that's it. This becomes a lower high from back here, and boom, boom, we start breaking down again. So I'm looking for the yen to roll over again this week. Okay, short the rallies. Yen questions. You guys are letting me go through this fast this week. I appreciate it. But if you have a question, feel free to ask. Okay. Soy this week, I don't have anything to say about it. It's breaking down. I'm not sure what it wants to do. And when I'm not sure what it wants to do anymore, I'm just staying away. So right now, I do know, you know, that we are sort of holding this trend line on the weekly chart, unable again to get above it. And therefore, this is another lower high, and we've sort of rolled over, and that kind of tells me we're probably breaking down. The issues that we landed in daily demand outside the Bollinger Bands. On the daily chart, we are coming off a higher high up here, so I don't know, is it going to bounce back first and then roll over, or just going to, you know, break down? I'm just unclear, and therefore, I'm not looking to trade it yet until it starts to give me a little more, you know, signal of what it wants to do. So for me, no soy trades yet. Okay, so I have nothing to share. I'll show you the levels if you want. You can see that 60 is just making lower highs and lower lows. We just came off of another low down here and pretty strong bounce back at the end of the day. So who knows what it wants to do? I don't know. So yeah, let's take a look at nat gas. This thing has been brutal, absolutely brutal for the last week or so, kicking ass and trying to wipe all the longs out of this thing, and it's done a pretty good job. So you can see we actually landed back into the monthly demand zone. All right, and this is the place where we rallied out of last. The issue is that we did make a lower high, and then we're now coming back to the zone. You can see on the weekly chart that we've actually been flagging along for quite some time in this neighborhood, and then a breakdown. And those usually get violent, which means I don't know if this is really the bottom yet, but I'm pretty sure that we have to bounce back. You know, at this point, can it get further? Yeah. Could it get all the way down to the bottom of the zone 2.5 and change? Yeah. Could it go all the way back down here? Yeah, it could. I mean, I don't know. But I do know that there is a monster rally coming. I just don't know when yet. Okay, there's a monster rally coming. When this side of the zone and start turning around, there is a huge, huge, huge long coming. Huge. Back to test this level. 3-4, 3-3, 3-4, back to that thing. So we'll have to wait and see how it opens. I'm very, no, I can't say I'm positive, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a major gap up tonight. Okay, so you can't really do much with that right away. But Friday's action was just ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. Total washout, massive blowout, wiping everybody out of this thing, and just straight down. You could see that. And then it started to bounce and hit some demand on our 60 chart. That's pretty fresh. I mean, we haven't been down there in, I don't know, 6-7 months, something like that. And bounces a little bit. Obviously, there's a ton of air in front of us. I think this is just a wipeout move, and we start to see a rally this week. But again, because the sideways action for so long on the weekly chart and the breakdown, it might go another candle. I don't know. It might be another week before it wants to turn around. We'll have to wait and see. If it lands inside this zone, I mean, look where we are. How far outside the bands on the weekly chart. And then the fresh demand zone, we haven't really got into the zone, right? We've touched it a couple of times, and, not in there. If we get in there, and you're a swing trader, like I'm going to be, when I get over here, I will definitely be buying over here. No question about that. Okay, and this is going to be a long-term trade. If you're in one of those, the target's going to be somewhere up here, right? 3-3 or above. Okay, that's the target. So if we get down here, that's going to be a buy. If we start turning around, so the little lower time frames might be an interesting trade. Okay, it's going to be a little counter trend in the beginning, but because of the massive explosive move down, I'm expecting that we're going to see a fairly large retracement of this candle this week. We should see a pair of twins, something like this over here. All right, so let's see if that happens or not, but that's what I'm looking for this week on nat gas. Let's see if we got lower time frames we looked at. So there isn't really a place to join anything yet. At this point, we have no uptrend whatsoever, right? Even on the 60, trend is still down. We don't even have the higher low yet on the 60. All we have is the bounce off the bottom. So there should still be some kind of push down and then a hold with a higher low and then, start to retrace. So if you're going to try and make it long, maybe you want to wait for that to show up on the charts. Okay. That's nat gas. Alex. Bob, a couple of guys asking questions now. Okay, here we go. Alex, what's up, man? I don't hear you yet, Alex.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I got you now. Say what? Alex, what was it? Alex. Come back to you, Alex, because I don't know. Maybe you have your mic or something.
Okay, good morning, Joe. This is Bob. Okay, we are on the Bollinger Band on the weekly chart on nat gas. So is it possible that, on the weekly chart, we are right at the Bollinger Band at on the edge. Is it possible that it might just make a jump next week and then it may roll over again down to about 2.4?
Yes, so it could do something like that. So you're asking if we're going to do this, right? There's a little supply zone sitting right here on the daily chart, right? And so we've sort of broken away from this area over here, right? And there's this or this, either one, right? We bounce back and do something like that and then roll over. Yeah, very, very possible. Even if we do that, I think we hold the bottom at that point. You know what I mean? We roll back. We don't make a new low. I think we rally out of that, make a higher low, and then start retracing. If we do pull back out of that level, you know what I mean? But for now, the bounce back into the zone is what I'm expecting actually to happen. And what happens after that, we'll have to deal with. But I think this week is the rally. That's what we're going to see. And I think Friday was just ridiculous, total nonsense. But I will find out tomorrow or tonight actually when we see which way it gaps. The last few Sunday nights, we had a major gap ups. I think it was 2 or 3 in a row actually. And then later in the week, it ended up rolling over. So we'll have to see if that pattern continues or not. But I think we're going to start to see. I doubt there's many people left in the longs at this point. They've been washed out on Friday. So usually when that happens, that's when it's time to start thinking to get long. You know what I mean? If you're a longer-term trader. But remember, nat gas is very brutal with your stops, okay?
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Don't fight this thing. All right? No problem. David, you got a question? Go ahead. David?
Oh, well, Joe? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, you kind of answered
Yep,
my
I got
question.
you. Can you hear me?
Well, you kind of answered
Okay.
my question. You're talking now, but it's actually. You remember your bet? You remember your bet $2,600 getting that gas? You actually got that.
Yes. Yep, 2,600. There it is, right? Yep, I remember. So now let's see where we are. It took a long time to get there, though, right?
No kidding.
All right, now we're going to see about 33. Okay, that's the next level. I think we're going to see next is 2.3, 3.3. Okay. But let's find out. Now remember, we're coming into the season where nat gas should be very bullish. This is the winter months when there's, and it's freaking cold. You guys in Atlanta had freaking frost last week or something like that, and then where nat gas is like, sell it off, and that makes no sense. Total bullshit. It's manipulation, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a strong rally this week. Okay. Alex, are you still there? If you have a question, you can raise your hand if I haven't answered it. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. Okay. There he is. Fixed your mic. What's up, Alex? Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Talk to me, brother. Your mic should be on. I don't hear you. I'm not getting you. All right, so type your question, Alex, and I'll try to answer, okay? Because I'm not hearing you. So all right, let's go on until he does that, and let's look at Aussie. Nitin asked a question about gold and if the weakness in gold something to do with Bitcoin euphoria. I don't really think so personally. If you're telling me Bitcoin is replacing value, flight to value is going to be Bitcoin, highly doubtful. I can't see it happening yet. It is absolutely one of the most historical bubbles I've seen. And even in history, it's one of the largest bubbles. It's going to pop, no question about it. The only question is when it's going to pop. So, you can't stand in front of something like that until it starts to show the weakness. But there is going to be a major sell-off in that freaking Bitcoin. It's all euphoric now. It makes no sense. So, yeah, I would not be concerned. The reason gold is selling off is because the dollar is strong. It really doesn't have anything to do with Bitcoin whatsoever. The markets are at all-time highs. The dollar is strong, and gold is getting beat up because of that. Okay, when every guy on the street with their cell phone is asking people about Bitcoin, you know that something's wrong. It's not the time you want to be buying that thing anymore. The time to buy it was when nobody knew what it was. Now that everybody's asking about it, that's usually the time you want to sell. Okay, so just sit back and wait for it to explode. You buy it. I would say. Probably going to see somewhere under 10,000 when this thing starts to, to pause again. It's going to explode, lose 50% or more of its value. Okay. And you have to realize that most of the people that are trading that thing are not traders. And the minute they start to feel pain, they're going to sell out. Huge margins, of course, in trading these. Even if they're trading it on some of the Bitcoin exchanges, the minute they start to feel the pain of what it means to start to take a red position, these people are not traders. They will run away from that thing, and the snowball will just run everybody over. There's going to be a massive, massive exit, and it's just going to collapse. So that's what happens with bubbles, because the people that are in there are so late to the party that they don't know what it means to be a trader, and they will be total wipeout of people who are holding Bitcoin. So good luck if you're one of those. I would be selling over here. I've been telling my friends that I own it to get the fuck out for a week at least. Get out, take your money. What's left in it? Another 5%? It isn't worth it. Take the money, walk away, because it's blowing up pretty soon. Okay. Let's go back on and let's look at Aussie. Alex typed his question first. Alex, what was the question? Would you buy nat gas the current month or the next month? Well, I'm pretty sure nat gas rolled over already, bro. I think we rolled over on nat gas already. So, oh no, sorry, we haven't. If you're going to buy it, it's going to roll over this week, actually. So yeah, either one is fine. It depends what your intention is. If you're trading it for the longer term, Alex, and you're talking about, trying to get to that 3.3 that I'm talking about. So yeah, there's no problem to buy the the next month out there. Or you don't have to buy the F, right? You could buy the swing trade, yeah. So then, yeah, no problem. If you're going to get into it, first of all, don't get into the swing trade overnight. Okay, start tomorrow, and then yeah, if you're going to get into it as a swing, you buy the next month. It's fine. Okay, let's move on. Aussie. Let's take a look at Aussie. All right, so we were waiting for the Aussie to end its little corrective move, right? We know that the Aussie on the higher time frames it was in an uptrend. So on the weekly chart, you see that it did this rally base, drop base, drop base, drop, and then we back tested this week into the zone. But again, this is real fake because we've rolled over. Really, the price not up there, right? But it is showing some strength, that much we know. We did hit supply down here. I'll show it to you. I think the trade is long, but down here out of this level, right? We should be rolling over a little bit over here. Notice that the lows, so we have no higher low even on these charts yet, right? Even down here on the 240, it's a rally base, rally base, rally. Where's the sellers telling me that, we're taking control and we're going to test these buyers? Well, they're not there yet. They actually just started a little bit over here. So I think we see a level down here of 7,600 and change, 76ish, and that's where the next long will be holding. So it's like, if you look at the daily chart, it's a pushback into this level here, and that sort of will build this like head and shoulders for us over here, and then we're looking for 78. So long Aussie, but not from where we are. It's down here. The long is sitting over here. Okay. David has a question. I'll get to you in a second, Dave. Here's Aussie on the lower time frame, and there is the level that I'm talking about. You can see it here on the 60 chart, right? This thing. This one. So we had a little demand over here that was actually broken. I got to clean it off my chart. It just paused a little bit, ended up breaking down, and now it's flagging against that, right? So this little demand zone over here is sort of hitting this thing, which is now supply, right? And then we should pop that, and we end up over here. This is where the long is going to start, right? You can see that over here, and if you're calling these pivots here, we do have higher highs, higher lows, right? This had some controlled selling in here, 4 or 5 candles in a row. This had controlled selling here, right? So this is in an uptrend, and therefore this drop base drop that's coming as a counter trend move. This is where we want to join the longs. You can see it was actually where we broke out of the highs back here. That's the level, right? And that's where we want to take the long at them. So when price is down here, look for the long, and the target after that, 7,800. So it's about 200 ticks on Aussie dollars we're talking about, okay? David has a question. Go ahead, Dave. Yes. Mike is on.
Hey, hi, Mike. Hey, how you doing? I was looking at Aussie also, and to me, it looks like it's going to go up. My concern is, because of the strength of the dollar, would that worry you taking longs?
I didn't hear you, close.
The strength of the dollar.
Again? Your concern was what?
My concern is strength of the dollar.
Right. So the dollar strength, correct. I see the dollar strength when you're looking at the Aussie. So that you're telling me the dollar should be strong. How is the Aussie going to risk?
Well, I'm not actually
asking.
That's not exactly what I'm asking. I'm asking.
Right, because we know that the Aussie, because the dollar, as I said, that the dollar index that we're looking at is a basket of different currencies against the dollar. The Aussie is a very small percentage of it. So it's possible that the dollar index rallies and the dollar Aussie also rallies.
Okay, because to me, Aussie looks strong too. So.
Yes, it is definitely one of the strongest currencies against the dollar currently. That's what I would say. So if I'm going to buy any currencies against the dollar, it's probably the Aussie. That's what I would tell you. But again, lower down, right? It is part of the DXY, but it's Naranjan, I think it is a part of the DXY. I'm not sure, but if it is, it's a very small percentage, Naranjan. I think it is actually, but you can double check that for me and let me know. But I'm pretty sure it's like maybe under 1%, something like that. Yeah, Dave.
DX is also, on its own, is pretty strong. It's strong strength, but not DX.
But that's the dollar. That's what I'm saying. That's the basket of currencies of the dollar is the DX, right?
Right.
It's not. Thank you, Thomas. So Thomas says it's not even part of the index. So there you go. That's the even better answer. Okay. Right? So, yeah, absolutely possible that the dollar and the Aussie both go up at the same time. There's the breakdown. Thank you, Thomas. The euro, the yen, the pound, and then there's more than that, I think, right? Should be more than that. But, okay, so there you go. Okay, so it's not even part of the basket. So that's simple. So don't worry about Aussie. The Aussie looks very strong as far as any currency. That's the one I would buy, and I'm buying, we're talking about 7,600. So still another 40, 50 ticks lower. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Next, moving on. Let's go. BP looking like crap. I've been screaming about BP this week. People I'm trading with that we wanted to be short. Again, the same story with the rollover, sort of messing up the charts. These candles are down here. Price currently is down here. And it's sitting on this air. Okay, so this is going to break down, and we're going to end up over here someplace. Okay, these candles are down here. All right, this is rollover, and we're looking for a continuation of weakness in the pound. Okay. Take a look here. Pounds were unable to rally up there again on this trend line. This is even after the rollover. We obviously closed the rollover gap, and now we're looking at this big ass pocket down here, right? And I would want, this is the level that we're talking about getting short. It's right here. That's where the short is sitting. Okay, so we don't want to buy here. We want to. All right, and selling here would give us the target of 1325, and I think even that's going to eventually break down, but that's a pretty big trade at that point. Okay, so we're looking for shorts up here in this zone, and target down here underneath this little wick over here on the 60, where we filled this air pocket down here. So the short's sitting over here, and that's the trade from here to here. Okay, so we're waiting for a short up there on pounds. Okay, any questions? No, cool. Canadian and copper, and then actually I'm going to do. I want to do the U.S. this week. There's a little trade setting up over there also. Take a look at Canadian for a second. Canadian actually rolled over, but on Friday. So we haven't seen the new rollover where the price is just yet. So right now you can see we sort of broke down underneath here. Right under our little trend line, sitting there on the 240. We've made a lower high, so we're likely to just bounce back a little bit, continue lower. On the weekly chart, right, so we had this engulfing candle last week, and now we're sort of getting the continuation. We tried to rally out of it, and we were unable to, so I believe that this level is actually going to break, and we're going to end up down here someplace. Right? So we're talking about another leg down. There's a lower high right over here. And we're talking about pushing down into this thing. So let's just look where the next demand zone is underneath us. So that's where it's at there. It looks like 77 even. So remember that with rollover, so the Canadian should open up on somewhere over here, a little higher up because of the rollover that's coming now. And then, the target is down here. I want to see how it opens this week. Tonight, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a new lows over there. Okay, let's take a look on the lower time frame. Yeah, so we're, I don't know, depending on where we open, but there's supply sitting right here and here. I'll mark them off right inside this range, someplace over here. We should see price turn over again, and then head back down and take out all these lows. There'll be a lower high over here, right, and then we start to finish off this thing. So Canadian this week, we'll have to see which level it is only because we don't know where price is currently sitting. Okay? So keep that in mind. Canadian's not looking too good. All right, let's look at copper. Copper had a monster rally that we called out last week. Thank you. What's the price? 77,795. Let's take a look at that. Where is that coming in at? 77. Is that the spot price, Dave, from Friday? 77,795. 77,795. 77. That's very low down. It's not. CDH. Yes. Okay, that's fine. CDH, I have that. 77,875 was the close. I understand. Yeah. Okay, so then, one of these levels over here is what we're looking at. Okay. Yeah, I've rolled the chart over to H right here. So, I told Okay, that's what I'm saying. This was Friday's calls. We'll have to see what the open looks like. As far as copper is concerned, the rally that we were looking for last week absolutely clearly happened, right? We were looking at last Sunday, we had these little basing candles over here and told you that we should be seeing a retracement out of this thing. Well, copper went one direction, totally ballistic this week, just straight up, boom, 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 blast through the supply zone on the, or ends up outside the wedge up there again. Look at this on the weekly engulfing candle. So this is going to test at least the highs. Right? There's coming up here some. So we would like to be long. There's a very nice level sitting right over here on the lower time frame. When it broke through the supply, it made a very nice demand zone, so we'll maybe get a chance into the long over there. We're going to look at that. But if you're not in yet, you want to be long copper. Okay. That's where we ended the week, and this is the demand zone that I'm talking about down here. It's not very big, so it's a pretty nice spot right here, right? See that? It's about 12 ticks of copper, and looking really nice as a potential chance. You can see that Friday was a pretty strong move up, so maybe we backtest into the little breakout area and give us a chance around 3,100. It's right around there, a little bit below, and then bang, we get the next part of this piece to the upside. So keep your eye on copper for a long down here. Okay. So this will be the last one I'm going to show you. After this, we'll call it a session. And I like something setting up on bonds. I don't know how many people are bond traders over here, but right down here, look on the, some of the, let's start with the weekly chart for the U.S., okay? Failed hammer, right? Last week was the hammer. This week was the fail. If you look down on the daily chart, what are we seeing? This is what I'm seeing. We're back to the neckline over here of this head and shoulders, and therefore we should hopefully get right through there. I think we're heading up into this thing, right? So looks like this wants to rally. Interesting, right? Prices go up, that means the rate's going down, right? But that's what it looks like here. I mean, this looks like it's going to rally. If you ask me right now, I think we're looking at this 155. That's what it looks like over here. We'll have to see what happens. Let's take a look on the lower time frame, what that means. Okay, so you can see that we're actually in an uptrend going on over here on the 60. Right, and there's a really nice demand zone sitting over here. We've just come off of a recent high. Right, we're retracing this, and we should get a little pushback, and then I think we get this. Okay, so there's a level down here on the 15 that is actually tradable because bonds are a little expensive. I don't know if you've ever traded them before, but 30 something and change a tick, 32 something. Take a look at this 15-minute zone right here. Very, 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 very nice demand setting right here for bonds. Okay, it's about 7 ticks wide, so you have to do the math. It's like 200 and something worth of risk, and that's the zone we're talking about. Okay, you can see it's sitting underneath all this basing. It's right at the breakout area back here where we broke through these highs back here. Very nice looking demand zone for a long up into that 155 area. So that's going to be a pretty big trade if it plays out. Okay, keep your eye on that level. And that should be it for this week. If anyone has any questions about anything we covered so far, feel free to ask right now. All right, guys. Happy holidays to everybody. Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. So today is what, today's the 17th. So next Sunday is like the day before Christmas. I think we should just take off. I think maybe I'll put a little poll out on Twitter and see if, because I think we're getting towards the end of the year. Maybe we just want to call it a breakup. People are probably not going to want to be trading anyway after that. It's probably going to be a dead week between Christmas and New Year's anyway. So likely that we probably won't have a session. But pay attention to Twitter. We'll see what it looks like. I'll put a little poll out there, and if enough people want it, well, I'll do it. I don't care. But if not, wish everybody happy holidays and a happy New Year. And we'll see you guys after the first. Okay, everybody happy, enjoy yourselves, and trade safe, trade smart, and enjoy the family time. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.